Do you dream of exploring the enchanted land of Morocco? Discover the magic with Destination Morocco, the ultimate travel experience for those seeking luxury and adventure. We specialize in crafting bespoke itineraries tailored to your unique tastes and desires. If you are a discerning traveler who values an immersive, curated adventure, then visit destinationsmorocco.com. That's destinations with an S, Morocco.com. And let us bring your dream Moroccan vacation to life. Welcome back to another amazing episode with Destination Morocco podcast. In today's episode, we have the one and only Ted, the producer of the show. He does an amazing job. So welcome back and good to have you back, Ted. It's always incredible to chat with you. And in today's episode, we're going to go over my experience. I just came back from Morocco, and that's what's going to be the topic. Things that I've seen, witnessed, experienced. So there's so much to talk about and cover in this episode, Ted. So welcome to the show.
Thanks. Nice to be back. It's been a fun summer because you've had all these amazing audio recordings live on site, on location in Morocco from the summer, and I've had the chance to put it together now and do something that's really fun and creative. We've been looking forward to this for like over a year, so it's been really neat.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I've been looking forward to it, and it's a lot more difficult than I expected it to be. And that made it a lot more fun.
Yeah. Well, that's the challenge too, and a lot of podcasters for sure are still figuring this out of trying to capture like live audio on location. And do it so that, it's not too noisy and there's going to be some background noise, which is part of the fun and the ambiance, but it can't take away too much from the dialogue. So it's a learning process, but it is fun to do it.
Absolutely. Yeah. 100%.
And same too, because for your tour, I mean, we got to go to Morocco in February, my wife and I and our two kids. And then all this time, of course, I've been looking forward to your experience going back after all this time. And we chatted in June while you were on your way there. You're in Frankfurt, right, at the airport and on your way. And and everything's happened ever since. So that's for this episode. We thought, we'd kind of give a summary of your experience, but mostly about how you put together your trip and the tours, because a lot of people listening, we know they're thinking about what would our itinerary be and how do we choose where to go and what to see and do. And you were in the exact same position putting this trip together. And of course you did two tours. Basically you did the south and the north.
Yeah. Yes. Putting it together was definitely challenging because there were 10 of us, for the north tour of Morocco and then the south. And then we did Marrakesh by itself. And, it's me and my team, so there's always quite a bit of few people actually, and then the thing that we did new that we have never done before, which is having everything in videotape everything. So and that took us, it took quite a bit because we had no idea. I personally had no idea how much time it takes to set up and to put everything back and then record and so forth. So it was time consuming. So, but very fortunate and grateful. We had so much in video. So everything that we have in audio, we also have in video. But the video part is going to come up probably sometime in 2024.
Yeah. So tell us just a bit of an overview of where you went and the nature of your two big tours.
Oh my goodness. Let me see if I can remember. Well, definitely Marrakesh. We are based in Marrakesh, so we did quite a bit in Marrakesh, probably 1 week in terms of recording. We went to the square. I mean, obviously, Jemaa el-Fna, it's very popular. There's so much to cover. The souk, the market, the shops, it's just incredible. As you've seen and heard in the last few episodes, we did not really finish the attractions and things to see and do in Marrakesh. It's just, it's a lot.
Yeah.
So and then we did, the south. We started with the south. We went to Tlouet, which is my village. That's where it's located. We were there for 2 days and we did a Amazigh experience, Berber experience. We spent the whole day in my village, actually, with my neighbors, and some part was recorded. That's what in our house, my grandfather's house. And that's normally where we used to spend our summertime. in that house. So it's just a lot of memories. And then we went to Ait Ben Haddou. We did some recordings and we did the site visit as well. And then after that, we went to Dad's Valley. And as you can see, we did with Mehdi.
Yeah.
We actually did 3 recordings in Dad's Valley. There's so much to see in Dad's Valley. I did not know, but
Yeah.
for us, most of the time we just stop at the canyons. But there's so much stuff to see. You can spend easy 3 days without getting bored with a lot of activities. And then we went to Merzouga, obviously. The same thing. There's so much stuff to see in Merzouga versus just spending one day. If you have the luxury to do that, spend more time. There's so much stuff to see. We went to, the Nomads. We went to some caves. We did just incredible
Yep.
trip. And then we went to Agudas. Yes, Agudas. We've been there. We've been to Skura. We've been to many other places. I mean, the weather was very hot. Then Ouarzazate, and then we came back to the Atlas Mountains, then back to Marrakesh. I mean, it was just.
So that was
It was
roughly
very
10 days,
brutal.
was it?
2 weeks
Oh, 2
actually.
weeks.
If you include Marrakesh, it's 2 weeks. We did literally. The trip was 50 days. We were on the road for 40 days.
Wow.
So yeah, I mean the schedule was very difficult, but
Yeah.
I'm glad we got it done. So
So
and then we did the north side.
Yeah.
Yeah,
yeah. So where'd you go? Or where'd you start there?
we started in Essaouira,
Okay.
and we stopped at Women's Cooperative. Women's Cooperative. We stopped at so many different places in so many different locations. The one in Essaouira stands out. The one in Ait Ben Haddou stands out as well. So it was a lot of information, just incredible experience. Then we went to see, obviously, in Essaouira. When you're in Essaouira, you have to see Xavier. You have to stop at Riyad Zahra. So his hospitality, his wife, his kids, Jeffrey, the staff is just incredible. The experience was just, I mean, you have eaten the food. I mean, the food was just wow.
Yeah.
So Essaouira was definitely very good to us, and we did a tour as well in Essaouira. We have very good local guide, and then after that we did Casablanca, and obviously you cannot do Casablanca without Khalil. So
he's the
he was
guide at the
very
mosque.
gracious. Yes, the guide at the mosque. Yeah, we spent about 2 hours with him.
Yeah. Good.
And then, I mean, the information that he had shared with us, the stories, it's just, I cannot wait for the listeners to listen to that episode.
Yeah,
It was
me
just
too.
incredible. And then we did a Rabat.
Okay.
Rabat, normally, for the guests, for the clients, they do a short, piece of what we have experienced. In our case, we did the whole thing. So Rabat was just incredible. We were very lucky. We had an amazing experience at a restaurant that we go to all the time. We send our clients to, and the local guide again was just incredible. And after that, we went to Asila. Asila was good. It was nice and chill. Then we did Tangier. Tangier was just amazing.
Yeah.
So we did the Hercules caves. We did quite a bit. And then after that, we did Fas. Fas always just beyond incredible.
No, wait. Did you go to Chef Shawan first,
Oh,
or did you go from Tangier straight to Fez?
we went to Chef Shawan,
Yeah.
and then we went to Fas.
Okay.
My experience in Chef Shawan again, just beyond incredible. We normally stay at the Dar Shawan, but this time they were booked. But they were very nice enough. They let us record a podcast episode inside. We had lunch. The management, the staff, just beyond hospitable. Just incredible experience. And again, we were very lucky with the local guides. All the local guides that we had throughout the trip were just above and beyond. So amazing experience. Then we did Fas. We stayed in Fas for 4 days.
Yeah.
And 4 days in Fas is just not enough. Personally, you need maybe 2 or 3 months in Fas.
Wow.
So we did record quite a bit. I think in terms of podcast, probably we have maybe 3 to 4 episodes just in Fas by itself. There's so much to talk about, so much to cover. And then obviously we went to Meknes. There's a lot of attractions that are closed in Meknes. However, we saw as much as we could. But again, the experience was amazing in Fas. I mean, in Meknes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's Then one of the last stops on the north side was the Wydian uh, Hotel and Resort. It's
Huh.
you know in the outskirts of Marrakesh. It's quite a bit of a drive, Bilouidan, which is not popular, uh, with a lot of the clients, but it's an amazing destination. It's um, underestimated destination, in my opinion. We stayed at that resort was just, I mean, was the biggest surprise for me,
Huh.
in terms of luxury, in terms of accommodation, in terms of hospitality. Everything was just top notch. I mean, granted, it is a 5 star, but still, I mean, it just,
Is this in
to
the
see that type of.
Agafay Desert?
No, no, not the Agafay. This is in Bilouidan. It's a location. It's a popular with the locals,
Okay.
um, with the Moroccans. Everybody knows where Bilouidan is.
Right.
It's just like a massive, massive dam, but there's the river, and it's just really very nice, very romantic. A lot of people go.
Huh.
You can take boats, you can do jet skis, you can do so much stuff.
Yeah.
It was very hot, but the place was just beyond incredible.
Hmm.
And we did quite a bit of Instagram lives, and this one is it's on Instagram. If you go to at Destination Morocco,
Yep.
you'll see it. It's on the feed. They were very gracious, very helpful, very nice.
So then
So
that brought you back to Marrakesh after that?
yes, he brought us. We were supposed to go to the waterfalls, Ozod,
Hmm.
but it was just not enough time. I mean, we extended one more day
Hmm.
with the north side of Morocco, so it's like 16 days, but it was still just not enough time. I mean, so
Wow.
much to see. It was just incredible.
So 16 days to do that whole north tour.
Yeah, and we didn't. We still missed a few spots. Yeah,
Yeah. Interesting.
yeah.
Had you ever done a tour of this scale without the recording part of it, but just, on your own or in the past? Have you done something like this?
No, not like this. I
Okay.
mean, it's been 4 years since I've been back, and I did a little bit of well, we were supposed to do the north and the south
Hmm.
in 2 weeks, but then Imran got sick,
Oh, yeah.
so we had to cut it short. We did 8 days.
Mhm.
We covered the north. We went to Merzouga, but we're supposed to go to the other side, the coastal side, but then Imran got sick and we had to cut it short.
Hmm.
So,
How was he this time? I was wondering about that, like
oh my
with the
God,
pace and everything and the weather, sure. Like,
he
what was his experience like?
he talks a lot. He complains a lot. And it's so funny. I told him that I needed his help, and this is before going to the trip. And I said, hey, look, you can record and you can work and make some money. And he really liked it. But then, we did few recordings, um, and then he was like, I asked him, say, hey, are you ready for the next one? And he just looked at me right in the eye and was like, hey, Azdean, I'm just a kid. And I laughed so hard, and I said, you're right, don't worry about it.
Yeah.
So, but he had a lot of fun. He had an amazing time. It was incredible.
He's a good age to do it because he'll remember a lot for sure.
Oh yes,
Yeah.
yes. And he was like, next time we go in, we're not gonna go any tours. I want to go see my cousins.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I don't want to be traveling for work. So,
Well, how did you decide on which stops to make and the timing for it all?
that's a really good question. I actually it's me and the team. It's in this they're a little bit more experienced than I do, but I know, you know, um, like Fast, you have to give it more time. If you go into Fast, Fast needs, if you can, 3 days average. Shifsha 2 days. Tangier, if you can, 2 days, because you don't want to be just packing every day and moving around. Also, one thing that I realized, and a lot of clients have been saying, there's a lot of driving.
Yeah.
When you look at Google Maps and stuff, it really doesn't do justice because the country is bigger than what it looks like on the map.
Yeah.
This is number one. Then you have to keep in consideration the road conditions, then the speed limit. So if you think, from point A to point B is going to take you 4 hours, in fact, it's going to take you probably a minimum of 6 hours. So you have to plan accordingly. So the team really planned the tour. For me, literally, I just have to look at it and say, hey, what if we do this or that? And, we agreed that, hey, this is the best way to do it.
Okay.
So
What was your transport like?
The transport, because there was 10 of us.
Yeah.
We used the Sprinter. The Sprinters in Morocco, I had no idea they're different than the US.
Hmm.
The Sprinters in Morocco, they're lacking one of the most important component when it comes to comfort, which is air suspension. None of them have air suspension.
Hmm.
So it feels like you are actually riding, a truck,
Hmm.
and the chassis is a truck. I've seen it and went to Mercedes dealership, and because we want to see if we can get some, but then I realized when the time comes, that vehicle we have to skip.
Hmm.
We cannot add that type of vehicle to the fleet because it's just not comfortable. The ones, even including the ones that we used. So
Huh.
um,
Well, it's
the
good for you
reason
that you could
is,
try that out then,
oh, for
right
sure,
before your
yes,
clients
yeah,
do.
for sure,
Yeah. Good.
yeah, yeah, yes. So,
Hmm.
um, the plan is, for us, comfort, safety first. So, if we were to do something like that, we're not gonna put 17 passengers because that's what a lot of people do.
Hmm.
We'd probably do 12, 13. That way all the passengers have enough space and comfortable.
Yeah.
Because the way that they do it, it changes everything. Especially, you have 17 seats, but then when you look at the trunk, you cannot fit the
Hmm.
luggage for 17 people. So it's very tricky. So option number one is definitely to get it from Europe, and obviously Germany is the number one where to get it from. So that's when the time comes, that's where we're gonna get it from.
Hmm. I remember the van that we were in. Of course, there's just four of us. So, and there was Driss, our guide, and Abdul, our driver. And there were like two bench rows, so you could fit, I think, five or
Yes.
six people, and it seemed comfortable enough. But of course, you guys are a much bigger group, so you need the
Yeah,
space.
the one you're talking about, they're extremely comfortable, and I
Yeah.
love them.
Yeah.
And the thing that you can do with the seats is you can either make them the seat look, you can sit looking at each other,
Yeah.
you
Okay.
know,
Cool.
and then or you can just have them like just regular seats. Everybody look, to the front where the driver is. But this one you can, the middle one, you can move it, so you
Hmm.
can flip it actually 180 degrees. It
Neat.
changes, so you get a chance to talk to the people in front of you versus, they are behind you. So
Yeah. Yeah. Cool.
which is really good.
How far ahead did you make your bookings then and reservations?
Not far enough. Well, here's the reason why. Because we were expecting a lot of people and some people to come with us,
Hmm.
and they did not confirm until last minute. So, but I definitely recommend booking months ahead.
Hmm.
3 months, 4 months. That's the best way to do it. If you go in December, 9 months is an average.
Okay.
Just to be on the safe side to get the first pick, because we are almost in September. If you want to get something in December, then it's very questionable.
Yeah, it's pretty
So they'll
soon.
tell you they don't have availability, even though they have availability, because that's just how it is. So
I'm always curious about logistics for like travel and tours, especially. And so, like, what would you do for food when you're driving all that distance? Where would you go for lunch, and how do they
oh, that's a really good
incorporate that?
question. Here's the good news. Um, when you book with a tour company, when you book with us, you have your driver. They know exactly where to stop.
Yeah.
They know the good places. And food can be very tricky, especially on the streets and traveling. You get sick, you eat something that doesn't go well with your stomach, it's gonna mess up your tour for sure. So you really, really have to be very careful and ask. So you have your local guides. That's why make recommendations. Then you have us. We can make recommendations for you.
Hmm.
So, the major cities, you're good, but it's between, like you said, when you're traveling from Fas, going to Midlet or going to Merzouga or going to Deads Valley, that's what happens because you don't have a lot of choices.
Yeah.
So,
So, would you be able to find some places along the road? I remember that's what we would do, but there weren't a lot. So, they needed to know where to stop and when. Like, even if
yes,
maybe you're not ready,
yeah,
but you got to stop now because there won't be another chance.
yes, exactly. Yeah, yeah, the driver, they know.
Mm.
If you have like a tour leader with you, they know. If you have a driver, they know exactly where to stop and make those stops. And again, because it can get really tricky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What kind of places would you stop at? What would you have for lunch?
For lunch, normally I stay away from meat,
Mm.
and I'll tell you why.
Hmm.
Because they'll give you something, an old animal, the wrong animal. You may
Yeah.
think you're eating, a lamb, but it's a sheep and it's an old sheep. So
Mm-hmm.
the meat takes a little bit longer to cook. Maybe it's not healthy, it's chewy,
Mm.
all kind of stuff. Goat can make you sick because it's very strong. The meat for the goat, it's different than the U.S.
Mm.
Normally, if we have a fresh goat meat, we let it sit for a day at least and eat it the next day because it's we call it's too hot.
Yeah. Hmm.
But not in the sense of the heat, but it's very new, so you want it to cool off for a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I do salads. There's plenty of choices when it comes to salad. Vegetarian food, chicken, is good as well. But for me, I always stay away from the meat on the roads.
Mm.
Um, so
Now,
unless I'm at a riad or
right.
in a city, then I'm good.
Yeah, that's different. But I mean, with salads, we talk about people traveling, and you should be careful about salad because what have they washed it with?
Yeah, good point.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, I mean, you just got to be careful.
Yeah.
You just got to be careful. In our case, we were very fortunate um, because we make those. We call before we make the stop.
Okay.
So that way, when we stop, for example, let's say we going from Marrakesh to Tliwet or to the Atlas Mountains.
Yeah.
There's a place that everybody stays, but that's what we call and say, hey, we come in. Can you make this for us? There's 10 people. So when we get there,
Hmm.
the food is almost ready for us,
Okay.
and that's the best way to do it. So you can trust those people. You're not going to get the wrong meat or this or that. So it's going to be good and it's going to be healthy.
Yeah. Interesting. That's a good idea.
Yeah.
And what was the weather like? Because you were there in July mostly. How
Yes.
hot was it?
Oh my goodness, it's so funny. I tell people don't travel in July and August, and that's exactly what I traveled. But it's because we don't really have a choice because of Amran's school.
Yeah.
But it was very hot. It was really, really hot. But it's a different heat than we have here, at least in Houston. It's very dry heat.
Hmm.
So yeah, yes.
So it's tolerable. Like, what does it feel like? Is it kind of an oven as soon as you step outside? Can you do much
Yes,
during the
I mean
day?
during the day, like in the morning, around 8, 9, 10, it's very breezy, very nice. But then it gets hot, and it gets to 50 degrees Celsius,
Yeah.
47 degrees Celsius, and that's the equivalent to triple digits in the US. It's
Mm.
105, 110, 115. It gets really, really hot, especially Marrakesh, Fas.
Yeah.
So yeah, it does get very, very hot. Yes.
Wow. So the other big question I'm sure people have, they're wondering, are prices, especially compared to when you were last in Morocco,
Uh,
4 years ago. So what kind of prices are there? How much has changed? Do you remember since then? Like, what's it like these days?
Well, it really gotten expensive since
Mm.
last time I visited Ted. Um, in my opinion, I would say it's the average about 30 to 40%
Oh yeah.
increase. And also keep in consideration that the dollar has lost a little bit of its value
Hmm.
in terms of exchange. So that obviously it affects when people are buying tours and spending money, but
Yeah.
definitely things have gone up quite a bit. Yeah, gas
Wow.
prices even worse. Um, just to give you an idea, um, right now we're paying about $3 and a quarter for a gallon. In
Hmm.
Morocco, they're paying 15, almost 15 dirhams, which is um, like almost $2 for 1 liter.
Okay.
So, 1 liter, if in terms of gallon, that's
Yeah.
times 3.8.
Right.
It's really, really expensive.
Yeah. And what's the day-to-day impact on the traveler, especially on a tour? Like, how much do they still have to pay, extra things themselves?
Well, there's definitely an impact, but if you're just traveling to Morocco for a week, for 2 weeks,
Mm.
3 weeks, you don't see that impact as much. But for us, I mean, paying for hotels, paying for yachts for 10 people, I mean, it was quite a bit.
Yeah.
Then breakfast, lunch, dinner, it was quite expensive. I mean, it's
Mm.
worth every penny.
Hmm.
What we got out of it, the experiences, the network, everything was absolutely worth it. but it's really expensive.
Hmm. And
Yeah.
and what's changed from a culture or society kind of point of view, from your perspective, having had that long gap, right, after 4 years? Did you notice a lot of big changes?
Yeah, there's you know, it's a new generation. People
Hmm.
feel different, they look different, they dress different.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, it didn't feel like the old Morocco where I grew up. It felt, very modern, very nice. Um,
Hmm.
People are eating out, hanging out more. There's a lot of people anywhere you go. Um, there's a different vibe, definitely, definitely.
I remember someone telling us, or a couple of people, that they hear a lot more English now from
Yes,
Moroccans.
yes, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Because also, if you look at the educational system, excuse me, Morocco as a country is moving from the French language. So now the kids early on they start English first grade, second grade, which is tremendous.
Hmm.
My sister, her son, he speaks English. He's very
Yeah.
young, but he speaks the language because of TV, because of YouTube. I mean,
Sure.
he watches cartoons in different language, and that's how he picked it up,
Yeah.
which is just incredible. Super smart kid. For the country, I think it's the right move.
Yeah, and I don't think French will disappear completely either, or at least anytime soon, because we did still hear as much, if not more, French, but the English is definitely creeping up. Just the
Yeah,
last few years. So
yeah,
if people are more comfortable in French, for sure, then you can absolutely get by. A lot of people speak
yes.
French.
Oh, 100%. I mean, the
Yeah.
change is very slow. You're
Hmm.
probably not gonna feel it maybe for a few decades to come.
Hmm.
So, in terms of the tourism, French will always exist. It will always be a very strong language
Yeah.
in Morocco. But I do agree with you. English is definitely it's the new hip, the new trend in Morocco right now.
Hmm. Yeah, it's interesting. I guess my last big question is, what would you do differently next time in terms of planning a trip like this?
Ah, oh my goodness, that's a really really good question. What I would do different is I need to get permits
Hmm.
uh, to film because we did it. We didn't. I did not know that we needed a license because I
Okay.
see, in Marrakesh is very tough. Um, I see tourists have better equipment than we do, and they have the freedom to film and video everything. But for us, we were stopped
Hmm.
almost on a daily basis. Everywhere we go, um, we stopped. They did not let us, the authorities. So it was very difficult. And then we did some drone videos and pictures, um, but on the south of Morocco, not the north.
Hmm.
Excuse me. Yeah, the north side. It is beautiful when you have a drone. It changes the game. It changes everything.
Yeah.
So we were very fortunate to get some of those videos
Hmm.
and pictures in Kliwat, in Merzouga especially. So
Hmm.
those are the things that I would change. Have permits
Hmm.
to film and video everything. Um, yeah.
Well, despite them stepping in to stop you, you were still able to get some decent video.
Yes. Well, this again, the system in Morocco, if you're not aware, it's very different.
Hmm.
Most people will not like it, but we were very fortunate. We know some people that basically we have to pay them for their license,
Yeah.
and they'll be with us in the tour. So when the authorities come, we just they
Huh.
show them the permits, and it's if it's
That's it.
yeah, and then because somebody from that agency has to be with you, you cannot just say, hey, I am with so and so. No, the person has to be with you. So luckily, that's what we did in Marrakesh,
Hmm.
and we did in other places. So and we had an amazing time, even with the
Hmm.
difficulties. It was incredible. Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah.
Would you plan anything different about the itinerary then, or the pacing?
Oh, for sure. Yes, that's a really good question, Ted. Um, First of all, there were too many of us traveling.
Hmm.
I think probably we need to do less people, but if we have to keep the same number of people, I would stay in hotels versus riads.
Okay.
The reason is because in some riads, um, they don't have a lot of flexibility, they don't have a lot of availability. And the Riyadh, you can go to Riyadh and it's booked. Then when you go to your room, there's some issue with AC, there's something not working right, and they
Right.
cannot really move you somewhere else. So the hotel has more flexibility in that term.
Yeah.
That's what I would do.
Well, I guess the last question really is: do you have another trip planned? What's the future? What's the next step?
The next step, I really want to go back in February. February
Okay.
is kind of cold, but
Yeah.
uh, because,
We were there in February. It wasn't too bad.
yeah,
Depends a bit on your perspective. Coming from
yes, well,
Canada
yeah,
here,
you're Canadian.
but I mean, we didn't see snow. There was
Yeah,
snow in the mountains. We were there like late February, so
yeah,
you needed pants and sweater kind of thing. But it wasn't unbearably cold
yeah,
by any means.
yeah. But I haven't been in the winter time since '98, so it's been a really
Oh
long
well.
time. Um, it's I definitely want to go back. There's a lot of places that we missed, um, but probably I won't be able to do them in February. But I want to go back because I want to finish what we started in Marrakesh. And also, we have a documentary, a movie coming up, and that's the time when it should be finished. So I'm very fortunate for everybody who has been involved. The camera crew, the
Hmm.
staff, Sam, Hasna, everybody's just been amazing, amazing.
Nice. Yeah, it's a great experience. It's something looking forward to for so long,
Yeah,
and the chance to finally do it, and the knowledge that it's really just the beginning. It was, I mean, and it was a lot of effort, and there's a lot of great footage, but it was also kind of a trial run. It was a practice, right, to then
yes,
do some
yes.
more in the future. Now that you guys have learned a lot of good techniques and tips, and take it to the next level next time.
Oh, absolutely,
Yeah,
100%,
yeah, that's
100%. Yeah,
cool. All right. Well, hey, it's been great learning about your tour, and
thank you.
all this time I've been wondering a lot about these logistics. How did they put it together, and what were the days like, and the weather, and just where they stayed, and all this kind of stuff. And I got some bits and pieces, and basically the same as the listeners too, right? So
Yeah.
yeah, it's nice to get a bit more of the fuller picture because anybody listening can do something similar. You probably won't have a video crew trailing you around, but
Yes,
in terms of the itinerary, though, it can certainly be quite similar. Whether it's the driving or the riads, etc., and the local tours, the local guides. So yeah, it's a good insight that this is how Azdean's done it, and anyone else can do it too.
absolutely. This is what we do day in and day out. We make it easy for you. You don't have to worry about anything. You don't lift
Yeah,
anything. We take care of everything for you from A to Z. Because this is what we do. We did the tour to make the experience even better for the clients.
yeah, that's
So we
good.
know where they should stay, we know where they should go eat lunch, and we know where they should have dinner, or this experience versus this experience, what city, Fas
Hmm.
versus Essaouira versus Marrakesh, and all that kind of stuff.
Hmm.
So, and seeing it firsthand, it definitely changes you. Because everywhere, whether I'm in Ibn Haddou, whether I'm in Merzouga, I say, hey, what if Mr. Swift and his family were here?
Hmm.
How would they experience Merzouga? Would this be okay for them? Do we need? Is this luxury enough for them? Is this okay for them?
Yeah.
Or do we need to go up to a different level? Let's say when we go to, we're having, lunch out, le patron, it's like, hey,
Hmm.
is Chantal's family is going to be okay here? Are they going to be taken good care of?
Hmm.
With, Miss Kinza, being around and taking care of them. So though I always put, myself in the client's shoes and say, hey, what would it look like? It's
Hmm.
about the experience. The money come and go, but the
Yeah.
experience stays with you for a lifetime.
Oh yeah.
So, and we made some memories that are gonna last us, lifetime. That's what
That's
we
what you
really try
remember.
to accomplish. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So, you guys stand out because you're there in person, on site, going and
Yeah.
researching these things. You're not one of these big tour companies based in wherever, the United States or Europe or something with, the books, these random tours. This is what you guys do. And you know the
Yeah.
people
Yeah.
and you're from there. So you know what to expect and how to put out all those fires, of course, too.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
100%. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, this has been great. It's been nice to be back on the show and wrap up your tour. And we're gonna, I think, the next few episodes we're gonna focus on Fez and put some of those recordings together. So
Yes.
I'm
Yeah.
looking forward to hearing what you got from there and sharing that with the listeners too.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And just want to say thank you to the listeners.
Hmm.
Because they made this happen. I look at the reviews and thank you for the reviews. We really, really appreciate it. We want to put out some good content for you that it's valuable, and we're going to do the same, and we're going to take it to the next level. We added a new episode. We have some stuff planned for you, but the point is, we want you to have a good time. We want to make sure that your experience is a unique experience. So, and thank you for that opportunity.
Yeah, and don't forget, we're doing our first live Q&A session. This is exciting because we really want to do more interaction with listeners, and we know lots of people are out there, and it's a chance to see Azdean in particular, ask him any questions. We're doing that coming up here pretty soon in September. What's the date and time?
The date is September 13, 2023, which is 9 Pacific, 12 noon Eastern.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be a lot of fun.
So if people have questions about planning a trip to Morocco, that's kind of the focus right now. They can send messages. They can send questions to Azdean. If you go to the Destination Morocco website, destinationsmorocco.com, there'll be a button there where you can register, get the link, add it to your calendar, send any questions ahead of time. Or, of course, you can participate live as an audience member. This is with our podcast recording platforms called Riverside. So they have a neat feature where people can watch us recording, because I'll be there too, and they can participate as like an audience member. Then they can send those questions. And what's neat, if you want to, you can even click a button where you can request to come on the actual show and with your video if you want, and ask your question too. So we'll see who's interested in that. But this will be the first. We're going to do this every month and kind of build it up over time and see how we like it.
Absolutely. And it's going to be the second Wednesday of every month.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So we're looking forward to that.
Definitely. Thank you so much. Always a pleasure, Ted.
You have traveled the world, but Morocco's allure beckons you. Destination Morocco is here to create the perfect once-in-a-lifetime Moroccan journey, tailored exclusively to your desires. Let us craft an itinerary that unlocks the secrets of this mesmerizing land just for you. For a luxurious, bespoke Moroccan adventure of a lifetime, visit destinationsmorocco.com. That's destinations with an S, Morocco.com, and let us turn your dreams into reality. Your amazing Moroccan experience awaits.